We tell ourselves forests are peaceful, that when we wander beneath the trees, we're alone with nature, safe, calm, maybe even a little spiritual. But deep in the woods, there are places that aren't on any map, places that don't want to be found. And if you do find them, the worst thing you can do is leave, because something might follow.
Have you ever felt unseen eyes watching you in the dark? Welcome to Nightfall Crypt, where shadows whisper, the unknown lingers, and every story is waiting for you to listen, if you dare.
When I was 16, my world revolved around two things: photography and being alone in nature. Living in a remote patch of Oregon, right next to a national forest, made both easy. Miles of unmarked beauty. Trees that groaned in the wind like old souls. Streams that whispered over stones. It felt untouched, timeless. That summer, I was obsessed with golden hour. Those last few moments of sunlight that made everything feel painted. So, one afternoon I packed up my old DSLR, grabbed a water bottle, and headed for one of my favorite trails. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I never did. It was routine, safe, peaceful. An hour into the hike, the trees were glowing. Shadows stretched long and thin. Then I saw it. A path I'd never noticed before. Narrow, overgrown, like something the forest had almost swallowed. No signs, no footprints. I hesitated. My heart thumped a little harder, but something pulled me in. Maybe it was the promise of a new angle for a photo. Maybe just teenage curiosity. The trail was tight. Branches scratched at my arms, and the silence felt thick, like I had passed into a different part of the woods, more isolated, more aware. Then I found the clearing. It wasn't big, maybe 20 feet across, ringed by trees that leaned just a little too close. In the center was a blue tarp, laid out neatly like a picnic blanket. A red cooler sat beside it, an old folding chair, and a knife, large, hunting style, stabbed into a log like someone had just been using it. There were cigarette butts, a half-eaten sandwich, even a bottle of water with the cap still off. It wasn't old. This was recent, fresh, and no one was around. I stood there, my breath caught somewhere in my throat. I raised my camera out of habit, snapped a single picture, and that's when the feeling hit me. A presence, like being stared at from behind glass, something heavy, invisible, pressing down on the edges of the clearing. My skin prickled, my gut screamed, "Go!" I turned and walked fast, not ran, because some primitive part of me said not to. Running meant panic, panic meant prey. But then, the footsteps. Slow, measured, crunching in the undergrowth behind me, matching mine. I didn't look, I didn't want to see what was there, I just picked up speed, brushing past branches, thorns clawing at my clothes. A vine caught my camera strap and nearly yanked it off, but I didn't stop, I didn't breathe, I just moved. When the forest opened up and I stumbled onto the main trail, I gasped, thinking it was over. Then I saw him. Standing right at the fork where the side path met the main one. A man, mid-30s maybe, wearing dark jeans, a windbreaker, and a beanie pulled low over his face. Hands in his pockets. Still. Watching me. He didn't speak, didn't move. He just stared. No emotion, no anger, just waiting. Like he'd seen me before and was curious which direction I'd go. I bolted. Sprinting down the trail, I didn't stop until I reached the lot where my car sat alone under the fading sky. I locked the doors, hands trembling, and peeled out of there like something was chasing me, though I never looked back to check. At home, I told my parents. I didn't even care if they thought I was being dramatic. My dad called the local sheriff, and a deputy met us the next morning. We went back. The path was still there, the clearing too, but the tarp was gone. So was the cooler, the chair, the knife. Everything, except the cigarette butts. They were scattered like dead insects on the ground. The deputy frowned and muttered something about a squatter or an illegal camper. Said it wasn't uncommon for people to go off-grid out there, even make little camps. He took notes, but I could tell he didn't think it was serious. But he hadn't seen the man. He hadn't heard those footsteps. Over the next few weeks, I couldn't shake it. The image of that clearing lived in the corners of my mind. I checked online forums, Reddit threads about Oregon hikers, missing persons, even unsolved crimes. I found nothing. Eventually, I put the camera down. I didn't go into the woods alone anymore, sometimes not at all. Years passed. Now I'm 27. I live 2 states away, in a city, and I haven't hiked alone since. I've told the story maybe a dozen times, always with the same ending. They found nothing. Just an abandoned campsite and a man who vanished like mist. But here's the part I've never told anyone until now. Last week, I was cleaning out some old SD cards trying to make space when I found the one from that hike. I didn't remember taking many photos, just one of the clearing before I turned back. I loaded it. The photo was dark, grainy, almost too blurry to make out clearly. But the clearing was there. The tarp, the cooler, the knife. And just barely, in the tree line, on the far left, was a shape. A figure, watching. And I swear, his hands were in his pockets. So maybe I imagined some of it. Maybe fear played tricks on me. Maybe I built a ghost story in my own mind. But here's what I can't explain. That photo, the one with the figure, I deleted it immediately, and the next day it was back.
And so, the shadows stretch further, and the mystery only deepens. But this is far from the end. It's merely the beginning. What lingers beyond the door? Who is whispering your name? And what is that shifting in the corner of your eye? The answers await in the next chapter of these chilling tales. Subscribe to Nightfall Crypt and hit the notification bell, because the crypt's secrets are endless and the darkness never sleeps. Until next time, stay in the light if you can.